Hey guys, Chris Amos here with Winding Road Magazine. This week we're in the 2016 Volkswagen GTI SE with a 6-speed manual and some neat little radar guided cruise control, lane keep assist, and some other features like a front differential. I wanted to show you an example of how lane keep assist works and how the radar guided cruise control does on the highway. This system seems to work pretty well. I do like the lane keep assist in this car. In a lot of vehicles with lane keep assist, it does tend to kind of make the steering feel a little bit weird, where there's some resistance and it doesn't feel like you can steer the car normally. Well, the steering with this system still feels pretty good. You just turn it on and off by pressing the side button on the indicator stalk, and then you can go through and select lane keep assist, blind spot, rear traffic, front assist, and turn those systems on or off. And then over here you've got your cruise control distance that you can set. Lane keep assist does a pretty decent job of keeping the car centered. It's not autopilot, so it's not gonna drive the car itself, but it will kind of bounce between the lines if you're going through a turn. So you definitely need to pay attention if you're using the system. Radar guided cruise control seems to work pretty well. We've got the cruise control set to 75 right now. It brings the car up to speed nicely. There's not much delay. But really, I mean, it's not that much different from any of the other systems in most new cars these days. Really what you want to know is how this car drives. And it's good. It's very good. I haven't been in a GTI in it's probably been about a year, and I'm really enjoying this one. Today we've got a little bit less traction than normal. It's a little bit greasy in some spots, so hopefully we'll get a chance to test out the front differential and see what that does for front traction. So far driving it this week, it seems to be doing pretty good things. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty good car. The only hesitation that I have about this particular GTI is the price is pretty high on it. It's $34,000, which is kind of touching Golf R territory. And I think probably the way to go with this car from a performance standpoint would be to get something that's a little bit more of a base model. It's got the cloth seats. This has a lot of leather and some luxury features that, like the Fender stereo, that are nice, but it puts the price up there. One thing I do notice about the Mark 7 GTI is that the gearing is pretty, it's a little bit longer. So 5th gear is where 6th gear used to be on the Mark 6. You would cruise around 2,700 RPM at 70 miles an hour. In the Mark 7, we're at about 2,300 RPM at 70 miles an hour. This probably gives you a little bit better fuel economy, but it doesn't quite put the engine RPMs in the sweet spot for passing power. So you do sometimes have to downshift into 5th gear to get what you want out of it. Right now we've been driving around mostly in sport mode. Gives you a little bit of extra engine tone. Boost comes on a little bit earlier. Man, these cars are fun to drive. Turning in this GTI is awesome. The new steering rack in these Mark 7s is so much quicker. You barely have to turn the wheel. to do a 90-degree lock. And of course, plenty of torque and power from this 2-liter turbo. Transmission is a joy to shift. Heel and toe is pretty easy to do. And that front differential really digs in there. There's just so much traction out of the turns. Again, here we are on a pretty bumpy road. Ride is really well composed. The surface tends to unsettle a lot of different cars, but the GTI feels good. It's not harsh. It's just really well damped. Car does pull really well. It doesn't fall off into the higher RPMs. A little bit of understeer if you don't set it in right. But for a 30-degree day, plenty of grip from this car. I love that front differential. It just bites, grabs and holds. All right, let's take a look at the spec on this car here. Take things down a notch. MSRP on the GTI SE is $30,120. As equipped, this car is $34,230. And we've got some extras on here, like the driver assistance package, which includes adaptive cruise control, forward collision warning, autonomous and emergency braking, blind spot monitor, lane departure, park distance control with parking steering assist. And then we've got a lighting package for $995 and dynamic chassis control. This one is the 4-door, which I personally tend to prefer. I think the added practicality of 4 doors is nice on a daily basis. You don't have to reach so far back to get your seatbelt as you do with the 2-door. You guys have seen plenty of Mark 7s by now. This isn't anything new. Not much has changed. Plenty of back seat room. Lots of nice headroom in the driver's side and back seats and passenger side. Car has a little bit of luggage space underneath this. I'll show you an example of how quick the steering is. So it's basically just 2 turns lock to lock. And steering, turning radius is great. this feels a little bit more than 210 horsepower. I get the feeling that Volkswagen tends to kind of underrate their GTIs a little bit. This thing pulls really hard. The 6-speed manual is good. Really enjoyable, really engaging to drive when you're just cruising around slowly. But once you get into it and you're really hustling it, there's some good direct positive engagement between gates. It's a little bit of a longer throw, but it's a really nice transmission. It feels great. This is definitely one of the better 6-speeds on the market. And of course, the steering wheel, the materials, all your touch points are really nice. I do like the golf indents, the golf ball indents on the shifter. The steering wheel is made of a fantastic material. This leather is just amazing. It feels super premium. I'm not a big fan of the cruise control layout. I really like the cruise control layout on the Mark 6 GTI, and it was just so intuitive. This is, I don't know, it seems just like a bunch of randomly placed buttons to me, and I'm not as big of a fan. It's taken me some time to get used to. But otherwise, I really enjoy the design on this wheel. This car is so confidence-inspiring. There's so much grip, it's predictable. And of course, with this front differential, man, it just hooks up and digs right out of corners. Hard all the way up to 7,000 RPM. It's really nice to be able to turn traction control off and still get some differential grip on the front end. The difference between the mechanical differential and what the electronic can do is pretty significant. I would definitely recommend going for the mechanical limited slip. This is a super bumpy road, and it feels good. It's comfortable. As always, GTRs are really pretty neutral. Can't do a whole lot to upset them around the turns. Turning in this car is just fantastic. Steering feels pretty good. You definitely know what's going on with the front wheels. You can feel them start to break away. Being an electronic rack, it's not giving you tons of feedback, but it's pretty good. It's definitely one of the better steering racks that I've driven recently with some decent feel. Man, that power is addictive. Do a 60 to 0 brake test here. second gear goes beyond 60. Brakes seem to work well enough, but they honestly don't feel that much different from the Mark 6. You know, this is a really, really great car. For 34 grand, the Golf R is a better car. The Golf R is phenomenal. It's such, I mean, I drove that a few months ago and it just blew me away. It has so much grip, and dynamically it feels so good. But you can't go wrong with this GTI. I would just forgo some of the luxury features. Maybe get the dynamic chassis control with limited slip. But for the money, it's so much car. Well, hey guys, that wraps up our review on the 2016 Volkswagen GTI SE. Be sure to visit us at windingroad.com and windingroadracing.com, where we carry all the gear that you need to go faster. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.